What's that? What's a 4-chord song, Benny?
Well, if you want all the greatest hits from the past 40 years, just use 4 chords. Same 4 chords for every song. It's dead simple to write a pop hit.
Just 4?
Yeah, these 4. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4 chords.
Sorry,
just listen. Do you recognise this?
Yeah, that is Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
It's a great song.
Very original.
There's a few more that fit. Check it out. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure.
Well, that's just 2 songs that are similar. That's not a big deal.
Forever young.
3 songs.
I wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours.
Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide. So love me like you do in this California king bed. We're 10,000 miles apart. If I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. It's too late to apologize. It's too late.
Hey guys, so you must be wondering, why is it that the same 3 to 4 chords are used all the time in all these countless songs? So I want to show you some basic music theory to explain to you the reasoning why this is happening. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about music theory. Something that you really need to understand is songs are built in keys. What does that mean? That means is we pick a select group of notes that are known to sound good together. Okay, and that's using a scale. Scale is a specific formula. And so we have 12 different keys, 12 different notes. But we can't use all of them. But we use this formula called a scale to select certain notes. And when you play them, they sound naturally good together. So, for example, the C major scale will be just the white keys. See, it sounds natural. If I play any notes together from here, they sound natural together. So it's easy when you make up a melody. If I don't stick into the scale, it'll start to sound awkward. Okay, so we're gonna stick to the scale. That's how music is built, in scales and keys. Now how are chords built? If I take every other note, I find a starting position, and I skip every other note, and I play 3 of these notes together, or 4, I get a chord. That's how chords are built. So if we look at the C major scale, there's only 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we go back to the repeating note. Okay? And that means 7 different notes and 7 different chords. Now, from these 7 chords, we only have 3 major chords. And we only have 3 minor chords. Okay, now a major chord is just explaining the quality of the chord. The major chord gives it a positive sound, a minor chord a more sad sound. So here, can you feel the difference? More triumphant, and this is more somber sound. Okay, so we only got really 2 type of usable chords that we use in pop music, the major and minor, and we really just have 6 chords in a key. We stick to play in a key, and that really limits us to 6 chords. But when you understand something is each major chord and minor chord are actually connected to each other. It's actually hard to tell the difference. So we call it the relative minor and major. For example, if I look at the C major chord and then compare it to the C minor chord, you see there's only one note that's different between them two. So they're actually interchangeable. If someone's playing a C major in a song, you can actually play A minor instead. So really, each major and minor chord has a minor or major version of it. If there's a D minor in a song, really you can interchange it and play F major instead. So that's called chord substitutes. So each major has a minor version of it, and each minor chord has a major version of it. And it's hard to distinguish by ear these chords. So now we're reducing 6 different chords to really 3 chords. So this is the reason why most pop songs use 3 to 4 chords, because there's just really not that many options. You really just have 3 major chords in a key. You could start playing out of key, but it doesn't sound as natural. For example, I'm going to start playing out of key. It doesn't sound as natural as if I played within the key. You see, it naturally sounds good when you play within a key, and we only really have 3 chords to play with. And then we can add the relative major or minor into it. So we can play with 3 or 4 chords. So for example, if I'm playing the F major, G, and C, I can interchange, and instead of playing the G, I can play an E minor. Now here's something else for you to understand, or it's going to limit us even more. Usually, you always want to play the 5th note of the scale before you come back when you end the loop. So for example, the last chord should usually be the 5th chord. The 5th note in the scale when we turn it into a chord is the 5th one. So we're already limiting, and it usually has to be either the 4th or the 5th. Why is that? Because let's say I'm going to play, because this chord is unstable. If I don't play the 5 and bring it back to the first chord in the sequence, it's not going to sound finished. For example, listen to this. It's not sitting well. It doesn't finish. But if I always bring the 5 to the 1, then our sequence is going to sound finished. See, it sounds complete. If I play the 5 into any other position, it's just kind of hanging there, and it's waiting to go back to our starting position. So usually the first chord, that's the key that we're at. And in order to finish, make it sound more complete, we want the last chord to be the 5 and bring it back to the 1. Okay, so I'll show a diagram to kind of explain this. So everything I said can be seen in this. This is called the circle of 4ths and 5ths. Now let's say I want to pick a key. So I'm picking the key of C major. We can see the 3 chords that are in that key is the chord to the left and to the right of it. If, let's say, I pick a key of E major, to find the major chords in that key, we're going to look to the left and to the right of it, so the A and the B. Okay? Now we can find the relative chords. They're under each major chord. So the A minor is their relative to the C. So you can really interchange and substitute each other. For the G, it's the E minor, and then for the F, it's the D minor. Okay, so we really in the key only have 6 chords to play with, and really everything's based on 3 chords. And then we can just mix and match from the 6 options, right? But if we try and play 6 different chords, it's usually too much. Really, the most natural sounding is to play 2, 3, or 4 chords. We don't really need more. It's just too much information. If you do want to start experimenting and playing out of key, we call it playing in a parallel key. What we can do is we can borrow chords from the minor version of the key. So if we're in C major, we can look into the C minor. We'll find the C minor, and we're going to borrow 1 or 2 chords from that key. So let's say we got C minor, so okay, let me try adding a F minor and a G minor to our sequence. And this way we actually start to expand and use different chords than the standard chords we hear. So for example, and then I'll add the G minor, and I can go back to the C. So now we're playing out of key. And let me add the F minor, and then we'll go back to our key. So that is one trick you can use if you really want to add some different colors and flavors, is to borrow chords from the minor version of the key. If I'm in C, borrow chords from the C minor scale and go back to C. Okay, so I hope this really explains it to you and makes you understand that we don't have that many options actually to play within a key. We really just, when you look at it and you boil it all down, only have 3 chords. 3 major, and then we have the relative versions of them, the minor versions of those chords. So I hope that explains things, and we'll talk later. Let me know what you think of the video.